Honorable members, shall we pray? Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, I will indulge you to skip item 2. We equally don't have any message from the President, and we don't also have any communication from the Speaker. So let's turn to item 5. Item 5, correction of votes and proceedings, and that of the official report. Votes and proceedings, page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Yes, Honorable Member for Adentan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I was in the House when the issue of quorum was raised on the floor of Parliament, and that's at the time when Speaker adjourned the House. We only had 24 members. Today, out of curiosity, I've seen that members present in the votes and proceedings indicate 123 people. It shows that 1, 2, 3 people were present or had signed in as being present. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out this number. Does it represent members of Parliament who came in, signed and left, or I don't know? Because I was there when the Speaker adjourned. We had only 24 people in the chamber. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
First of all, the fact that when you are adjourning, you are 20 people doesn't necessarily mean 20 people came into the chamber. As you may be aware, people come in and move out. And so it's possible that more than 20 people, yes. So if quorum was raised, it doesn't necessarily mean that happened. Secondly, some of us were even at committee meetings. In addition to that, I think that from a strategic, philosophical point of view, this can be handled at leadership level instead of debating it. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Well. Yes, Honourable Member for Adentan, I think when you look at Order 14, it talks about members coming to the chamber and recording their names or signing their names. It could as well be, like what Honourable John Janapo is saying, people came, signed, attended committee meetings and other businesses. At the time the Speaker actually adjourned the House, it may as well be that we had 24 members in the chamber, which obviously didn't form the quorum for business to be transacted. So I think we are not out of place that we had 120 something recording as present, because people might have come, registered their name, attended other business. So, Honourable Member, I think we are in the same page. We haven't wrong paid the records. We are okay with it. So we turn to page 5. Page 6. Page number 7. Yes, Honourable former leader.
Speaker, I was not available yesterday, but I submitted a leave of absence, and I believe that notice has been taken of that. And that being so, I believe that my name should not be on page 7 as having been absent without permission, that I should be marked as absent with permission. But having said so, Mr. Speaker, the issue that has been raised by the member for Adenta calls for further interrogation. Now, our new orders provide that a person who is within the presence of Parliament is not absent. So you cannot just refer to the number of members in the chamber and say that those of them who were absent or who were present totaled a mere 24. On account of the new orders, you should determine who was within the presence of this House. And I believe that perhaps at the end of the day, it was determined that 123 were within the presence of the House. Perhaps not merely even assenting their signatures, but they registered their presence within the presence of this House. Maybe you have to look at the orders again. But I guess that before you raise the matter about the numbers, your own new orders, our own new orders, provide that those of them who are in the presence of Parliament should be deemed not to have been absent. That is what we have foisted on ourselves. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think yes. But hold on. Yes, a table, kindly take note of his issue that he raised earlier on. Indeed, I signed his leave of absence. So take note and collect appropriately. Yes, leader.
Madam Speaker, I think the issues, it's bigger than that. I mean, I was here yesterday, right in front of you, made contributions to a lot of issues. And I see myself absent as well. I mean, table office. So I think that beyond that, I think the table office also must really tighten their systems, frankly. And make sure you correct me. I was not absent yesterday. Number page 7.
Yes, leader. I think as much as nobody will challenge you, the table will always rely on members who have signed on the record. So you may be here, you might have contributed, but once you didn't sign, the members may not have at the back of their mind that, oh, Honorable Deputy Minority, I was here, so it may elude them. So that is why we are always employed to sign the record book or the register, so that we can overlook some of these things. Yes, let's turn to page 8. So, Honorable Table, take note of his concern. Page 8. Page 9. Yes, Honorable Member for South Dari.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Speaker, 2 things. Item number 8, titled Quorum. Speaker, our style of writing should be that the Honorable Member for Tamale Central, Mr. Murtala Mohammed Ibrahim, drew the attention of the House to the fact that contrary to Standing Order 64 Rule 3, members present in the chamber were less than what constitutes a quorum, and therefore the House could not conduct any further business. Mr. Speaker, instead of Ibrahim drew the House's attention, Mr. Speaker, I'm resubmitting. Mr. Speaker, second, under item number 8, the narrative is that pursuant to Standing Order 64 Rule 4D, the House was suspended for not more than 1 hour. Mr. Speaker, and yet if we come to the particulars, it stated that sitting suspended at 12:15 p.m. and sitting resumed at 1:17 p.m. Speaker, for the records, you see that it's slightly more than 1 hour. We could say that sittings resume at 1:14, so that we stay within the 1 hour narrative.
Well. Yes, table, can we note of it? Yes, Honorable for Dominic Adenya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the correction that the honorable member on the other side, Honorable Zafiameko, the first one, that he's seeking to amend or make corrections to. Mr. Speaker, I think the way it stands is how it should be. The House's attention. That is the proper way to capture it. So I don't know why he wants to change how it's already captured by the table office.
The House.
So the apostrophe should be at between the E and the S.
The E and the S.
Exactly. But he says the House. You want to amend it to read the House. But I think that it should be possessive. So it's the apostrophe should be between the E and the S, and it will be correct. Thank you.
Honorable Member, we are not doing drafting here. Let's give it to
Mr. Speaker, it's formal language in the House. I've been in this House. She's been here longer than me. But I'm saying that for all the formal communications on the house, this is not how we write. So you drew the attention of the house. It's for it to be considered, Mr. Speaker, if the house is so guided. Thank you.
Anyway, table, take note, especially the second issue he raised. Honorable members, page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page number 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. Page 19. Page 20. Page number 21. Page 22. Page 23. Page 24. Page 25. Page 26. Page number 27. Page number 28. Page 29. Page 30. Page 31. Page 32. Page 33. Page 34. Page 35. Page number 36. Page number 37. Page 38. Page 39. Page 40. Page 41. Page 42. Page 43. Page 44. Page 45. Page 46. Yes, Honorable Member for Dome Kwabenya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the table office attention to the spelling on page 41, Roman numbers. The spelling, Roman number, Miss. Roman number CLXXIIII. Mrs. Adelaide Bia Powers. I think the spelling of Adelaide is one L, if they can double check. I believe that it is Adelaide they intended to spell out. So the spelling of Adelaide is one L. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, table. Take note. Yes, we take Yes, Honorable Dafiamapo.
Speaker, thank you. Speaker, may I take the House back to page 24, item number LXVIII and LXIX, Mr. Eric Boachi. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the name of the community, it should be Sefi Yosu. Sefi Yosu, not Sefi Anyasu. Even if it's Anyasu, it's not properly spelled. So table office should to cross-check the name of the spelling, the correct spelling of the community.
Very well.
Thank you.
Page 44. Page 45. Page 46. Page 47. Page 48. And finally, page 49. Honorable members, in the absence of any further collections, the votes and proceedings of Monday, 15 July 2024 is hereby adopted as the true records of proceedings. We will turn to item 6, but before then, let me acknowledge students at the public gallery. The first school is Fete Church of Christ, DA Basic School. They are being led by Evans Annan, who is a team leader, and the school is located at Gomoa East Constituency. Gomoa East Constituency. I hope you have the member here. Gomoa East Constituency. Well, your member is not here. You may resume your seat. The second school is Jukwai Senior High School. Jukwai Senior High School. They are being led by Francis Atta, who is a teacher, and the school is located at Chufo Himai Lower Dentura Constituency. Chufo Himai Lower Dentura Constituency. Yes, Honorable Bright Rekubrobe is here. Have you seen your people? Yes. So, you are welcome. I hope you note whatever is going on here to urge you to study hard, so that tomorrow you may also take our place here in the chamber. You are welcome. You may resume your seat. Yes, leader.
Speaker, as was agreed, we want to vary order of business and rather go on to public business. Speaker, at the commencement of public business, may we turn to page 15 and take item 10.0. Item 10.0 on page 15 of today's order paper. Page 15, item 10.0. And Speaker, let me seek your leave for it to be done by the Minister responsible for Parliamentary Affairs. Which one is item 10.0?
Yes. Yes, Honorable.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Speaker. The item mentioned
by my colleague, 10O, has got 5 sub-items. There are no issues with the first 3, obviously. In the past, we had concerns about IV and V. And the minister was here yesterday and attempted to lay it. We have since made our issues known. Mr. Speaker, as we said the day before, Friday and yesterday, these are major agreements that can have an impact on the economy and mining in this country. So what we were calling for is a situation where when these agreements are referred to the appropriate, there should be no attempt by the side opposite to railroad this and say that we are rising. We should ignore issues about concerns about mining in forests, on water bodies and other things, just because they want this to be passed. Mr. Speaker, there's nothing in our standing order today that will stop us from allowing them to lay. But be assured, you will not be allowed to cajole anybody to lay a lithium agreement for anyone to go and mine in a reserve forest. Even if it will give us 10 trillion, we don't care. You'll be forced to do the right thing and make sure the environment is protected, not for you and I only, but for the future generations yet unborn. So we are not going to stand in your way of laying it, but the committee that this will be referred to. And Mr. Speaker, we are just about to approve the new committees under the new standing order. People have been attempting for this to be referred to a joint committee. Today, we are encouraging you to refer this to only the Committee of Lands, yes, and Natural Resources. This idea, yes, because this idea of this joint committee creates a problem. Mining has nothing to do with energy. Mining is a land and natural resource matter. So, Mr. Speaker, we were hoping that we'll complete the setting up of the committees today before we make the referral. Those who are pushing for this to be laid ahead of time should know this will not be referred to Mines and Energy and Lands Committee. It must necessarily go to the Lands and Natural Resource Committee only. And we shall follow up to make sure that the right thing is done for this country. No one is allowed to mine, and then when we do this, and then the people are crying in their communities, the parliament absorbs itself. It is our responsibility to approve the agreement and do the oversight of this, Mr. Speaker. Those are the only things I have to say before we go ahead.
Yes. Yes, leader.
No, I'm not there. It's not about your fine.
Leader, let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, the concerns of the minority chief whip are well noted. I'm sure that when the paper is laid, the committee with the capacity to deal with it would get the time to deal with it. I'm sure he knows that we don't railroad issues in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, whether or not there will be the need to have a joint committee is a matter of course. I mean, if a committee is seized with responsibility, obviously, if in the deliberation there's a need to do whatever, that one will come up. So, Mr. Speaker, without more, would want to proceed to get it made so that we move on. Leader.
Let me give the opportunity to Honorable Montaka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm worried about what the leadership are doing. I'm very worried about what they are doing. One, Mr. Speaker, we don't have the Minister for Lands in the chamber. You are going to seek permission is for the House to agree whether to want a deputy minister to lay such an important, referral. That is one. And then two, with a greater respect to the minority children, if you have committees that is there to pass through the House, who told you that to pass? Because it's going to be a resolution, and the House will have to take a decision on it. So you don't make reference to something that is not in place. That you don't make reference to things that is yet to take in place. In Parliament, you make referral to the things that are in existence, not what is coming. That's why in our rules it said that you don't do things in anticipation. So please, I want to beg the leadership. Sometimes you may want to do things. That's why you have rankings, you have chairpersons. You need to consult them so that you are on the same page with them. Don't bring your differences on the floor. And Mr. Speaker, in my view, the importance of this referral is such that we should not even allow a deputy minister to lay them. Because you want to be sure what exactly it is. And our rules provide that in laying a paper, you can be asked to give some explanations. Who says that that explanation may not be sought? Because the concern of the minority whip is that, is this something going to be rushed under certificate of urgency? Is this something that will be rushed? Is this something that we want to do before we rise? If you want explanation from the minister, can the deputy minister provide you that? Please. So I think that we must resolve that this is an important thing. Let's see the minister himself come. So that when he comes, he may have to provide explanations with regards to whether he really wants this thing before we rise. So that we can get to know how urgent it is. But a deputy minister cannot be able to tell us that whether the thing is urgent or not. So, Mr. Speaker, and worst of it, the minister himself is a member of parliament. So he should be here so that he can provide those explanations before the paper is laid. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, leader, I'll come to you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I am the current ranking on mines and energy. I do admit that there's a new standing order. And I do admit that there's been a transition. I am not challenging the chief whip of the minority side, and I dare not challenge him. If I have issues, I'll discuss it with him personally so that we resolve these matters. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, nobody is rushing for any referral to be made to a committee. I'm sure that, Mr. Speaker, you are competent enough to determine that based on the gravamen of the subject matter, you want one committee, two committees, or leadership of a certain committee to join another committee. And that has always been our practice. But to rise up and say that under no circumstance will you go to this committee, under no circumstance will you go to the other committee, I think it's premature. It's premature. So I would plead with the minority chief whip. If he wants the new committees to be constituted, let's do that. It is in your court. If you constitute the new committees, wherever you take us, we will serve there and work for you. But such comments, I will plead with him. He should hold it, because as mines and energy ranking, when you refer to my committee and you make such a statement, it really hurts a little. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well. Yes. Let me invite the former leader. This is just a lay-in. I don't think we need to split our hairs on this. Yes, former leader, if we may do that, honest to just do that for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I just want to plead. I just want to plead with colleagues. This is a matter of just laying the document out. Just laying the document. And once the document is laid, the Speaker reserves the right to do the referral to the committees. I know the concern of the minority children is a last matter. So he's concerned about what perhaps may happen then. It's a mineral. It's also a mineral. That is concerned. So, Mr. Speaker, you reserve the right to do what is right. And I'm not too sure that anybody is going to rush in. It's for the committee to decide. So let nobody be jittery or panicky about this. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. Now lay the documents.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Administrator of Stool Lands for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Minerals Commission for the year 2023. Mining lease agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Ashanti Bauxite Limited Company for the mining of bauxite in the Nyina Hine Block 2 area in the Echima Mponua district of the Ashanti region. Mining lease agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and the Berari DV Ghana Limited for the exploitation of lithium at Ewia in the Central region.
Honourable members, please listen to me. The referrer, I, these three referrals goes to the Committee for Lands and Natural Resources alone. Then the referral of IV and V goes to the Committees of Natural Resources as well as Mines and Energy. Then the shifts can also join the IV and V. So that's the referral. Yes.
Shall we proceed to page 13 and take item 10J? Item 10J on page 13.
Okay, let him listen to your colleague first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I plead with your good self about the referral that you just made on the IV and V for the committee that the work has been given to make sure that the necessary consultations are done. Mr. Speaker, you know we have only 2 weeks to go on recess. And if you listen to the kind of argument that colleagues were coming out with, it was because of the shortness of the time and because we have past lessons to guide us. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe even before the laying of these people, most of those communities involved have embarked upon demonstrations against the exploitation of those minerals. So I will plead with you to direct that the committee should not just sit in Accra and bring a report. They should go to the necessary areas and have engagement with the stakeholders there. So that, Mr. Speaker, when a report is brought before us, nobody will criticize Parliament for not doing a good job. Mr. Speaker, a case that I wanted to cite was, you remember the day the Ajapa royalties deal was laid here, about 400 documents. We raised similar concerns. Our views were not taken. It later became an abortive transaction. We don't want a similar event to reoccur. And that's why we are making this. The city should know that a counting work has been given to them. They must go to the communities, those who demonstrated, the chiefs and all the stakeholders who have a say, so that Parliament will not just sit here and do any agreement and the backlash will be coming on us. That's the consequential direction.
Well, but I believe the committee should know what to do. I mean, they have to present a report, and obviously they have to inform us as to what they've been able to do. So I don't think we take your concerns, but I think the committees will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know that you have done the referral already. But, Mr. Speaker, I think that we need to be very cautious that this House is not seen in negative light, especially by the people that we represent. We have to be seen as a very serious House that intends to do very serious business on behalf of the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we know that there was a reason why we adopted our new standing orders. And with those new standing orders, there's very good reason why we recompose our committees. Mr. Speaker, our committees, we are told by leadership, have been reconstituted. Mr. Speaker, so why are we in a haste to continue to work with the previous committees, especially when it comes to certain matters, when we can easily give time for those committees to be properly constituted and be seized appropriately with the necessary work that they have to do? Mr. Speaker, why is it difficult for us to continue to work with the previous committees when we all know that in a day or two we will have the new committees properly constituted? Mr. Speaker, I think that we have to be careful that we do not present ourselves as, attempting to benefit from the old committees because of the arrangement it provides us to do what we want to do. Mr. Speaker, let us be careful because we cannot be smarter than the people we represent. They know what is at stake, Mr. Speaker, and I therefore appeal to you that you should listen to the direction of leadership on this matter. I mean, the two committees cannot meet today. They cannot meet tomorrow. So what is the rush in making a joint referral to them when you can constitute the new committees and let them appropriately deal with it?
Honorable Member.
Thank you.
As much as I know, even though the committees has been reconstituted, it has not been officially. My referral still stands, please. Yeah, it still stands. Yes, leader.
Speaker, page.
Yes, leader.
Page 13 of today's order paper. Page 13, item 10J. Item 10J on page 13.
Yes, page 13.
Item 10J on page 13 of today's order paper. 13.
J. Honorable Member. Oh, Honorable. Yes. Honorable, let's turn to page 13. 13. Item listed J. By the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. Yes, Minister.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development for the period January to December 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Lampuse District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Nanton District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Efija Kwaburi South District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ekwapim South Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Etriwa East District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Suhum Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Setra Central District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Wasa Amenfi Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Upper Ventura East Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Etrima Kwawuma District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Etrima Kwabieja Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Kwabri East Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Bono East Regional Coordinating Council for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Prestia Huni Valley Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ahafo Anon North Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Tano South Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Buakwa North Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Shama District Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the New Drabin North Municipal Assembly for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Land Use and Special Planning Authority for the year 2023.
Honorable members, the statements in J, I, IV, VIII, IX, XXI, SII, SIV, SVI, SIX, XXI, XXII have been duly presented. They are referred to the Local Government Decentralization and Rural Development Committee for consideration and report. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, page 15, item 10P. Speaker, let me seek your leave for it to be done by the Minister of State and the Ministry of Local Government.
Page 15.
Page 15, item 10P.
N.
For Paul. Page 15, item 10P.
Yes. Honorable, yes.
Mr. Speaker, the chief whip on the majority side should declare what he wants to do. Just a few minutes ago, the substantive minister for local government was here and he made an application for you to lay a paper. Then, instead of allowing the same minister to lay another paper, he's calling a minister of state. He's calling a minister of state. I mean, Mr. Speaker, give us some respect. Give us some respect. If you have businesses in the name of your ministers, tell them to stop following President Dr. Baumia and stay in the house and do their business. Instead of going dancing off record, dancing anyhow, stay in the house and do government business. Let me remind you, your government has still got until 6 January 2025 to end. It's as if you have already abandoned government. You have given up already. So please, as far as we are concerned, businesses in the names of ministers, unless the ministers are sick or for some reason they cannot be here. The last time we were told a particular minister, Mr. Speaker, was not in the jurisdiction. The next thing we saw, that particular minister was cutting sword in his constituency up north. that particular minister that we were told is unavoidably available was in the company of the running mate in the northern part of the country. So don't forget that you cannot deceive Mr. Speaker in the performance of your duty. So Mr. Speaker, tell your ministers to come to the House and do their business. Now that we have seen the minister, let him do the business. And the business of local government is the business of the substantive minister at the moment.
Thank you. Minister,
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, this is a house of records. My good brother, Honorable Abuja, just said running mates. Please. So I don't know whether he's talking about flag bearer or running mate, just for the records. No, he mentioned the North. And as at the time that incident happened, there was no running mate. So for the records to capture same, can he clarify whether it's flag bearer or running mate?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, let me clarify. The last time my good friend was here, when there was publication about he recruiting 11,000 people, we gave him the opportunity to clarify. He didn't clarify. I will also not clarify. We gave you opportunity to clarify whether you are recruiting 11,000 people. You said you declared the opportunity. The day you clarify whether you are recruiting 11,000, I'll clarify who I'm talking about.
No, leader. Honorable Abuja, I think you could have answered it better. I mean, you don't take things personal like that. I gave you the opportunity to respond to that. You don't respond personal issues like that. So, Honorable Abuja, please. I'm talking to you. Yes, I'm saying what you said was personal. I don't think we.
Mr. Speaker, I'll withdraw if Mr. Speaker.
It's not a matter of insult, but you personally.
Yes,
That's
Speaker,
what I don't
Mr.
want.
Speaker, he is our colleague and the substantive minister for Interior. A colleague asked a question on an issue that is of national concern, that newspapers are publishing that the Ministry of Interior was recruiting 11,000 people and gave a breakdown. Our colleague was in the House. We gave him the opportunity to at least tell the public whether it is true. He was recruiting 11,000. He declined. It is not personal. It is the ministry that was declining. Doing the recruitment. So I'm saying that he's got time to tell me who I was referring to. And I'm saying that when he comes to the House to clarify an issue that is of importance to the people of this country, then I'll clarify who I am referring to in terms of who is in the northern part of the country.
Honorable member, I am asking you to do the clarification because at that time the running mate of NPP has not been made known. So if people were following the running mate, then it is a bit.
Now that you want me to clarify, I'll clarify all of it. Yes, it was the running mate I'm talking about. But the minister that was at the front bench was told that was unavoidably available was the finance minister, and he was cutting short at Karaga. And I want you to be more concerned about the fact that, including yesterday, we couldn't get enough colleagues on the side of the majority to do business. When these same colleagues are following their flag bearer in our constituencies, that should be the substantive issue, that should be the concern of this House. So, Minister, I've clarified mine. I ask the question again. How many people are you recruiting into the police, immigration, and other things? Take the opportunity to clarify that one as well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, once again, with the greatest of respect, this is a house of records. As you can see, there are people in the gallery who want to be well informed about parliamentary practices and procedures. Mr. Speaker, to the best of my knowledge, I cannot recall that publications in the media will amount to questions in the plenary. Mr. Speaker, so if my honorable colleague far as I'm concerned, nothing has come to the ministry requesting me to provide that answer. So unless it's part of the question, and I say on authority that same has not been filed, there's no question to that effect. Unless you want to introduce question time when we're on a different matter. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, he's a leader. We have gone past question time, so I'm surprised he's coming at this angle. Let the children be well informed. Let the world know that parliamentary practices is different. It's not about personal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on, please. Yes, leader.
Madam Speaker, the Chronicle newspaper.
Honorable leader, he has explained.
On Monday, 8th of July, the Chronicle newspaper, on Monday, the 8th of July, reported, the colleague has said. And so, I think that this is a House of Record. He's our colleague. He should just simply deny the reportage of the Chronicle newspaper.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
you've already answered.
Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, the Chronicle paper is not the Minister of Finance. As far as I'm concerned, clearances come from the Minister of Finance. So your source will have to prove and show us commencement certificate that we are recruiting over 11,000. Whatever they have written is not true. And I challenge you to bring me the commencement certificate.
Yes, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, on page 15, the item P by the Minister of Energy, with your leave, if the Minister for Local Government can lay the paper on behalf of the Minister.
Yes, honorable.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, we are not making these comments in a vacuum. Mr. Speaker, our colleague, Honorable Matthew Poku Prempe, and recently was Minister of Energy. Before his resignation, we quickly, in fact, we actually, set aside the norm of advertising nomination for about 2 weeks, and quickly got one person, Honorable Krapa, confirmed as Minister of State at the Ministry of Energy. We also have Deputy Ministers of Energy. Mr. Speaker, it is not as simple as getting up as a whip and say, I want somebody else to lay a paper on behalf of a minister. Mr. Speaker, what is happening to the ministers that we have put in place at the Ministry of Energy? Mr. Speaker, is it the case that we appoint ministers and confirm them in this house, and every day, the other day, Mr. Speaker, the respected former majority leader acted as a minister of everything, laying every paper in this house? Mr. Speaker, we are asking, we are not making fuss out of nothing. At least the whip should be able to tell us why the new Minister of State at the Ministry of Energy cannot be found, the Deputy Minister cannot be found, and we are asking a local government minister to be laying papers on behalf of the Energy Ministry. At least tell us, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Leader, I think that has been part of our tradition here. We employ ministers to do that on behalf of their colleagues. So I don't think it's anything new. I came to this house to meet that, and it's been going on. So it's a tradition. Yes, Honorable.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company Limited for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Volta River Authority for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Tema Oil Refinery for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation for the year 2023. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission for the year 2023.
Honourable members, the statement of P, standing from I, V, has been duly presented. They are referred to the Committee for Energy to consider and report back to the House.
Mr. Speaker, may I invite you to page 16, item R, by the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture. Page 16. Page 16, R.
16 item.
Page 16, item R.
Yes.
The Minister is here, Mr. Speaker.
Let's turn to 16, page 16, item listed R, by the Minister for Tourism, Art and Culture. Yes, Minister.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board for the year 2023.
Honourable members, the annual report has been duly presented. They are referred to the Committee on Trade and Tourism for consideration and report.
Mr. Speaker, still on page 16, item S, by the Minister for Gender.
Yes.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection for the year 2023.
Honourable members, the statement has been duly presented. They are referred to the Committee on Gender, Children and Social Protection for consideration and report.
Mr. Speaker, may I invite you to page 34, item 51. Page 34, item 51.
Page 34. Page 34.
Item 51, page 34. The Environmental Protection Bill.
Let me listen to. Yes, Honourable Dafiamapo.
Thank you. Speaker, gratitude for recognizing me after 39 minutes of standing. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Order 91 and Order 97, Rule 1 for standing orders. Mr. Speaker, the effect of which is that where the clerk to Parliament receives sufficient copies of papers, notice will be advertised on the order paper, and those papers will be presented. That's a presumption. Mr. Speaker, papers are being presented, reports are being laid. Members don't have sufficient copies. At all.
We don't have
at all.
We don't even have copies.
And that's one. That's one. Mr. Speaker, prior to the other referrals that you've made, in respect of the lithium matter, I was hoping that you would have listened to me pursuant to 97.3 for the minister who stood instead of the substantive minister to give a brief explanatory. Please, this is pursuant to the rules, please. It is. When it's pursuant to 97.3, it is mandatory. It is mandatory. It is mandatory. So I'm addressing the chair. Keep quiet and listen. Now, Mr. Speaker, but I lost that opportunity because we were told that the substantive minister isn't available. So the deputy who deputized for his boss ought to be able to
give a short statement regarding the basis for which the paper was being laid. But we lost that opportunity. And that is a very controversial matter. Speaker, notwithstanding all this, my position is that within Article 102, we are not properly constituted. We suffered this yesterday. As we speak, the majority side, they are 32. Please. I am making my point. As we speak, the majority side, they are 32. The minority side, we are 37. We fall short of the threshold of 92 to even commence business, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, within this tent, I want to move within the tent of Order 64 and say that we are not properly constituted. Mr. Speaker, we cannot continue to do business with inadequate numbers. This is a house of record. It's also a house of laws. Speaker, tomorrow, these days, the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana is suffering humiliation in the Supreme Court. Laws that we passed, we are attacked that we didn't follow. It is shut down.
And in the public
and Mr. Speaker, we continue to receive humiliation. So we are saying today, we are in the media. We are being bashed for even regulations that passed. So I am saying that we should properly be constituted. If you want to do business, lay paper with the numerical strength
and sufficient copies.
And I'm saying that Order 64, Mr. Speaker, the House is not properly constituted to do business. And therefore, I pray you to do the needful and adjourn within not less than 1 hour.
No, it's not adjourning.
We come back, or you suspend the House within not less than 1 hour. We come back so that, not more than, so that the leadership, especially on the other side, can commandeer their numbers.
They are not around. They are not around. They are in,
for them to come and join us to do work on behalf of the people. Yes, we adjourn and we go home like we suffered yesterday, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Honourable members, please, once the quorum has been raised, we don't expect members to go out. We need to count and make sure we know the numbers. So those who are leaving the chamber, please, you have to remain. Yes. So do the counting for me.
Mr. Speaker, I would want to give some guide to the chair, if you would oblige me. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of members present in the chamber, there is a decision on it by Mr. Speaker. Yes. Mr. Speaker, quorum properly so called is when this house does not have the requisite number to transact business. It does not mean that when members come in and out, that literalist invitation be made cannot be accepted. Mr. Speaker, otherwise no parliament anywhere in the world can do business. Mr. Speaker, you cannot say that physical absence alone would be your key determinant of what quorum is. Mr. Speaker has ruled on this matter that the fact that you do not see all members in the chamber does not mean that, Mr. Speaker, the House is not properly constituted. This is a ruling of Mr. Speaker. That's a precedent. So, Mr. Speaker, I am saying that to incline to that invitation, you will still have to first check the records. How many members have registered for today? Because, Mr. Speaker, this morning, when the argument was raised by, the issue was raised by Honorable Ramadan, that yesterday there were 24 or so, that he looked at the records and realized that more members were present yesterday. I heard Honorable JJ Jinapo, arguing that, well, the fact that you didn't see somebody in the chamber does not mean that the person was absent. Mr. Speaker, I do not want you to burden yourself with that application. That application sits on stilts. Before you, there's no such application. You can only, Mr. Speaker, you can only move to make a determination when you are satisfied from the table office that members today are less than 92. Mr. Speaker, this approach has been dealt with. So I would plead with you, let us rely on the table office. Ask the table office how many have registered for today. Mr. Speaker has ruled on this matter. There's a ruling. So this approach of looking around and say, I have 30, so quorum. It is not the rule. The rule is that those who have registered, the rule is that those who have registered for the day, that is Mr. Speaker's ruling. Mr. Speaker, so don't let us waste time at all. Otherwise there can be no parliamentary business, because somebody may be having lunch, somebody may be using a washroom, and another person will want to torpedo the business of the floor. That is never right. Mr. Speaker, that is never right. We can't allow that. Mr. Speaker,
Leader.
be guided accordingly. That application must not be entertained at all. Because, Mr. Speaker, the Right Honourable Speaker has ruled on this matter. Has ruled on what constitutes quorum in the House. And in fact has even defined what the precincts of Parliament, what the definition of being in the chamber and being in Parliament. Mr. Speaker has ruled on this matter.
Honourable Leader.
There's a ruling.
Honourable Leader, I hear you. But yesterday, the same speaker was sitting here, and he actually didn't look at the register. So let him suspend the House. If we don't have the number, let him suspend the House. Mr. Speaker himself. Honourable members, let him just follow the rules. Let the bells be rung for 10 minutes, and let's see where there's. Today we are almost close to it. So, honourable members, table, let the bell be rung. So let's move on. Let's move on with the business.
Mr. Speaker, EPA bill. We are moving on with the EPA bill. Mr. Speaker. First of all, EPA bills at consideration stage, Mr. Speaker. No, Mr. Speaker.
10 minutes. Let's move on. With.
First of all,
honourable member.
Mr. Speaker, I raised the matter.
But you haven't caught my eye. You just resume. You have already raised your issue. You've raised your issue.
Mr. Speaker, the leader of the House has he quoted a single standing order? He hasn't.
Honourable member.
Mr. Speaker, let me rebut.
I'm giving my ruling. Please, the bell is ringing. So we look at it.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Right Honourable Speaker, leader, please. No, please. He has done the right thing. A process has been triggered, and you have really accepted that the process must be followed with our own standing of the Order 64, and that's what you are doing. The leader should be guiding us. Our respected leader should be guiding this House to tell us to throw our own standing order into the bin. when somebody raises a quorum, 10 minutes so that wherever anybody is, he can come back. And that's what we should be saying. So the right speaker, you're on the right track. We can go back to work and wait for the 10 minutes.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, I won't litigate this matter. I won't litigate. Mr. Speaker,
that you must apologize to me. Leader, you must apologize to me.
We'll discuss our matter at the coffee bar. We'll discuss at the coffee bar. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable... Yes. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister for Local Government has a matter of national importance for us. Mr. Speaker, it's in respect of a subsidiary law that has been laid in this House following certain processes that were followed through pre-laying and the subsidiary legislation committee having done some work. So, Mr. Speaker, with your leave, the Honorable Minister would have the floor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But, Honorable, I think we discussed this at the pre-sitting.
You see, Mr. Speaker, the respected leader was not at conclave. The understanding we had with you, the whips will raise the issue which is of a very important public interest currently. After that, the side opposite can take a decision as to whether they yield to the House request that a certain decision should be taken. Then we come here, then it's been done in a different way, Mr. Speaker. That is not helpful to you sitting in the chair.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, my respected colleague knows how I respect conclave decisions. I would not unilaterally come and vary matters. However, it became prudent for the Minister of Local Government to initiate so that what was agreed could be carried. I really apologize if that has given a wrong signal. Mr. Agoja, governs, please. You know I would ordinarily not vary, but I felt that it would be prudent for the minister to take the initiative. Then you do what you have to do. I'm sorry about that, but really, it's not out of any disrespect. Mr. Speaker, you may grant the minister the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the road traffic amendment...
So, Honorable Member, seek the leave first.
That's what
You did, okay. So, Minister, move on. Leave granted. So, Minister, you can.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the Road Traffic Amendment Regulation 2024, which was laid on the Friday, 14 June 2024, be withdrawn. Mr. Speaker, this has become necessary based on extensive engagement with leadership. It is so withdrawn, Mr. Speaker.
Well. Honorable members, I think this is a simple matter. Government brought the legislation. It has decided to withdraw. And therefore, I think, I just want to give the opportunity to the leaders alone. So, Honorable Ship.
Mr. Speaker, we shall always work, if you are the one in the chair, with you and follow up on the understanding we have at conclave to make work in the chamber orderly. What we discussed at conclave is not what has just taken place. And Mr. Speaker, in the future, if you witness conclave and a decision is taken and it doesn't suit us, our side, and we decide to do what suits us, I hope, with your kind respect, you will not be surprised.
Honorable, don't.
Mr. Speaker,
I don't think
you knew this is not what we decided. It was the comment. I cannot repeat the comment that was made at conclave. So, Mr. Speaker, they have decided that an issue of national interest is not good looking on Parliament, especially government, and they have decided to withdraw it. Mr. Speaker, we have no business talking about it, but I can just remind them there are other allies that have been laid that the public is still not happy about. I will encourage them to withdraw those ones as well. Mr. Speaker, whilst the Minister of Trade is here, the ally that he laid on cement is also not, the public is not happy. We also come and withdraw yours as well. Come and withdraw the cement ally as well. Come and withdraw the cement ally as well.
Yes, Honorable Majority Whip.
Speaker, let me say that indeed it's a human institution and we are humans. So my colleague should just be calm. These things happened and let's make progress. I think that I want to commend leadership. Early in the morning, I engaged my colleague and other leaders also came in, expressed same views, that there's a need for us to do the needful. I am just a bit, even in commending them, I'm a bit disappointed that my respected minority leader had to issue a statement on same subject matter. I think it would have been in good taste if that statement had not been issued. Maybe I'll leave it there. So when we agreed to do something, Kwame, you see, you were a while ago lamenting that we appear to have been doing things differently from prior agreements or conflicts. But even when we had a very gentleman discussion and agreement, we had a statement being issued out of the blue, which is not in good taste. So I wouldn't want to litigate on this matter, and I wouldn't want to drag this matter further. The minister had done the needful. I'm sure in days to come, they will get back to us. And then we can take a better appreciation of the LI. If the need be for us to do some amendment, we can engage further and do the same. So I thank you for the space granted.
Honorable members, the Road Traffic Amendment Regulation 2024 is hereby withdrawn. Honorable members, the time 10 minutes is up. I will indulge you to allow me to suspend the House. So the House is accordingly suspended.
Mr. Speaker.
For 1 hour.
Exactly. You need to advise. Okay.
Honorable members, welcome back to the House. I've been given a brief as to what transpired in my absence. I was invited to a function at the University of Ghana, so I had to go and deliver a keynote address. But I've been given a brief on it, and at conclave, we had a lengthy discussion with leadership. And so I will go by the guidance of leadership. Yes, Honorable Dafyamapo.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, brought to the House is going on suspension. I had raised the issue bordering on Order 64, as a result of which the House was suspended. Mr. Speaker, I've been urged upon by leadership that there's some very important businesses to do. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to accordingly withdraw my application so that we can proceed and deal with those businesses. I thank you very much.
Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, shall we proceed to page 22 of today's order paper and take item 35? And Speaker, may I seek your leave to do the business for on your behalf?
Honorable members, we are called upon to take item 35 at page 22 of the order paper. I will grant him the permission to move the motion for on behalf of my good self, who is the chairman of the Committee on Selection. So, Majority Chief, if you may do so now.
Speaker, I move that item captured as motion number 35 on page 22 of today's order paper be moved. I so move.
Any second? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded of the House. This is a procedural motion. I proceed to put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We move on to the substantive motion, item 36, at page 22 of the same order paper. Please, Majority Chief, if you may move the motion.
Speaker, with respect, I rise to move that this Honorable House adopts a report of the Committee of Selection on the composition of the membership of the committees of the House. And Speaker, in so doing, I present your committee's report and invite Hansard to capture the entirety of it, whilst I leave it myself to just portions. Speaker, before I proceed, let me make some amendments to the report. Page 7 of the report. No, Speaker, let's proceed to page 16.
You said page 7 of the report. Deals with House Committee.
We will rather proceed to the Committee on Local Government. We have the Committee on Local Government. So we have the Chair of the Local Government, Honorable Atachian, for the Committee of Local Government. And then we further proceed to the Committee of Energy on page 16. Speaker, on energy, the chair becomes the Honorable Emmanuel Akwesi Jemfi. Speaker, I will then proceed with your leave to present the report. So, Parliament at the third meeting of the third session of the 8th Parliament approved by a resolution the new standing orders of Parliament, the revised standing orders, reconstituted the committees of the House by revising the membership and mandate of some committees, established new committees, and redesignated some of the committees established under the old standing orders. Speaker, in compliance with the Constitution and to ensure the smooth functioning of Parliament, the committee met and composed the committees of the House in accordance with the provisions of the new standing orders of the House. Observations. The committee observed as follows. The delay in the composition of the committees under the new standing orders has created some lacuna in the functioning of committees which continue to impact negatively on the effective functioning of the House. The committee also noted that there were a number of referrals that were necessary for the smooth functioning of government, but were currently pending as the committee were yet to be composed. Chairpersons of committees. In composing the committees, the committee adhered to Standing Order 210 and determined the chairpersons of the committees based on the ratio of 138-137, representing the numerical strength of the majority and minority caucuses, save the committees whose chairpersons were already determined by the standing orders. Recommendation. In view of the above constitutional imperative and the need for the smooth function of the House, the committee, pursuant to Order 2053, proposes for the consideration of the House the composition of the membership of the committees as indicated in the attached appendix. Conclusion. The committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report and approve the membership of the committees as proposed in Appendix 1 and 2. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Second.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved on your behalf by the majority chief whip. And Mr. Speaker, make these few comments of my own. Mr. Speaker, this particular action today gave significant effect to the implementation of the new standing orders of Parliament as championed and approved by yourself. Mr. Speaker, there are so many new innovative ways that sought to improve how we work seamlessly in the House. Mr. Speaker, the number of committees have also been increased. We currently have 19 standing committees and 24 select committees. Mr. Speaker, the character of the current Parliament, which is a hung Parliament, requires that the distribution of the numbers within these new committees is also a new territory for us as a parliament. The standing order itself requires leadership of some committees to be clear. So the standing order actually automatically clarifies who should chair particular committees. And by convention, majority of them are chaired by those forming government. Yourself and your deputies chair some of the committees. Beyond that, Mr. Speaker, the distribution of the rest of the committees have been done in respect of the numbers we have on both sides in the House. So for the first time, Mr. Speaker, we are going to see committees that would usually not be chaired by the minority, apart from, the subsidiary and other things being chaired by the minority. Mr. Speaker, these effects are going to reverberate beyond Parliament, because some ministers are just going to realize that the chairman of, or the chairpersons of their committee from today are members of the minority. It calls for greater collaboration between Parliament and the executive, and I think it's a good thing. Mr. Speaker, it has not been easy trying to put this together. Effectively for us whips or leadership, what this meant was that we are supposed to reduce the number of colleagues on existing committees, in some cases by half. Mr. Speaker, that would not necessarily go down well with some committees who have learned skills of, other things, or are comfortable with the committees they serve on now. But Mr. Speaker, we do not have a choice. If membership of a committee which used to be 25 is now 15 or 17, necessarily somebody must leave that committee to make the committee fit into the numbers we have. And I'm just appealing to colleagues to understand this. Mr. Speaker, the fact is that the life of this parliament is almost at its tail end. We probably have 2 or 3 weeks to go on recess for this parliament, and we are expected to come back somewhere in October for a very short period of time, and that ends the life of this parliament. So we are all supposed to work together to see what we can do. So with these few words, Mr. Speaker, that I encourage colleagues to support this motion for us to adopt this new committee composition to give effect to the new standing orders of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Honourable members, motion has been moved and seconded. This is for the consideration of the House. Yes, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the committee that you chair, and to thank you for this very difficult work that has been done. I really want to thank you because for some of us that has been close and followed the work that has been done, at each stage you have spent man hours trying to guide the Chief Whip and the team in making sure that we arrive at today's final decision. And so it's also very important to stress how important these new committees mean to the long years. Coincidentally, we are celebrating 30 years of our democracy. And I dare to say that in the passing of these new committees, we are consolidating our democracy. If you look at these new committees, there are committees that have been new committees that are now coming because of the experiences we've had in the last 30 years. There's a lot we've talked about here, with, for example, the processes leading to the approval of the budget. For example, the need for Parliament to have a stronger oversight to make sure that we are part of the approval process of the budget. And I'm very happy that the Finance Committee is now in 3 major committees: Economy, Budget, and Finance. And so to allow Parliament to play a critical role in working with the executive
in directing and shaping a lot of important issues and policies before it's actually approved. Honourable Speaker, I also note, as has been said, that this particular committee was very difficult because of the composition of the House. This House is basically 137 with one independent. And if you followed and adhere to the Standing Order 210, it means that chairpersons must be based on the numerical strength of the parties in the House. And that really showed in the chairmanship. And it's something that we all have to get used to it, one way or the other. And since we are very hopeful, we are going to be in the majority very soon, God willing. And I believe that what we are starting here is simply consolidating our country's democracy. Committee on Human Rights, for example, is a new committee that will focus on critical issues that this House has been dealing with in terms of statements. But now we have committees. I just left a meeting with pensioners who have come after they've left the majority leader's office. And immediately I told them that the good news is that Parliament is now going to have committee on petitions to basically deal with critical issues of national importance. And I believe that this new committee of petitions, for example, will immediately go to work to address a lot of outstanding petitions that are hanging in Parliament and to have the focus and attention that is needed. I think that for the Chief Whip, I want to thank them because their work has not been easy and it's not going to be easy. But I think I want to end by assuring members and to ask for their cooperation and understanding. If you look at these committees, if a committee is 25 and it's been reduced to 15, it is very difficult to expect that these changes will not come. But we must understand that this current sitting has roughly 2 weeks left. We come back hopefully in October for about 3 weeks. So this whole work we are talking about and this committee is going to last effectively for parliamentary for 5 weeks. And so we take consolation that we are coming back on this side and we'll be sitting on that side and we'll be in control of our affairs and bring Ghana, as President Muhammad said, reset Ghana on the right course. But we'll get a chance for those who are not too happy with where they are. No worries. Just in 5 months, we'll be on the other side and we'll get the right things done. I thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I ask for support of this motion.
Yes. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I have looked at the report of the Committee on Selection. And in respect of some of the committees, there are no ranking members. And I want to know whether there is any specific rationale for that. For instance, the Committee on Independent Constitutional Bodies has a vice chair and a chairperson, but no ranking, a member. The one on ethics, sorry, Mr. Speaker, I want to get the right. Yes, Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Ethics and Standards, that is on page 14 of the report, has a chairperson, a vice chairperson, but no ranking member. And there are several instances of that. I want to know whether there is any reason for that omission.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak in support of the motion on the floor for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Selection on the reconstitution of the committees. Mr. Speaker, as a Deputy Whip, I understand the challenges of the time, and I understand the challenge that your Committee of Selection went through. But Mr. Speaker, my challenge, however, is in a bit or in the way of rectifying the challenges and the problems that came about as a result of the of the various committees was created with an improvised method. Mr. Speaker, my challenge is I wouldn't know where we are now, even though I'm not a member of the Committee of Selection. But I believe part of the motion will come a motion to amend the norms in the, because if you look at a committee like finance, in the standing order it's supposed to be 15 or 13. By on the committee that has been considered, we are accepting now, the number is 17. So how do we rectify the membership of the committees on the report of the Committee of Selection to be in accordance with the one that is supposed to be in our standing orders? I believe the leader of the House, we are masters of our own rules, can come with an urgent motion without notice, which may be asserted for us to rectify the various committees where a gap was created to be able to accommodate the constitutional mandatory provision of Article 103, which says that every member of Parliament must belong to at least one standing committee. So because of the gap that was created by some of these standing committees, an amendment has to be made on the provision of the standing orders to cater for that. Mr. Speaker, that notwithstanding, we are all aware, once this one comes into force, the old committee will cease to exist. There are a lot of committees, Mr. Speaker, with referrals. As we speak now, the Committee of Employment and Social Welfare is in Koforidua, considering or meeting CEOs of state-owned, state interest organizations. Their report will come. If it comes and the chairman of the committee is no longer a chairman of that committee, and that committee is dissolved, I wouldn't know how their report will find space in the floor. So the leader of the House, as a way of transitional provision, will have to include that one in this submission. Mr. Speaker, I only want to plead with members, now that the sizes or the numerical strength of the committees have been reduced, you will be meeting stakeholders outside Parliament. If a committee is composed of 13, and of the 13 membership, ministers included, then you are going to face an institution or stakeholders outside, and the ministers fail to report. Then the rest of the members, you will be faced with a problem of quorum. These are some of the things, but it's good we are adopting this report now, so that
your committee is as effective as you. Your committee can be seen as a Siberia committee, but it is how you turn things around. Every committee formed here is given some responsibilities. It is for you, the leadership of that committee, the members of that committee, to sit down and say, look, this committee is going to be visible. This committee will be seen to be doing its work. And for those who were eyeing leadership of committees and never got it, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge them that don't be heartbroken. I recall when we were in opposition in 2013. My respected colleague then, Dr. Makesibe Yeboah, he was always on his feet on finance issues, and Right Honorable Speaker Doa Jaho was always referring to him as a deputy ranking. He would always have to say, Mr. Speaker, I'm not a deputy ranking. I am a mere member of the committee. So if you are a mere member, it's how you assert yourself, how you read, you pay attention to referrals and all. So colleagues, your day will come. Don't be heartbroken. This is the nature of politics. This is what we sign up to. This is politics. Mr. Speaker had packed thinking that his career had come to an end, and see what destiny did for him. He's Right Honorable Speaker. He thought his career was over. No, of course. He said so on record. Mr. Speaker, having said that, we have a lot of referrals. I would want to urge colleagues that although it's an election year, the work of Parliament will come to an end on the 6th of January 2025. Let's finish our. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I would want to address a much lesser issue about the future. Honorable Ama Kofi Boah. I'm not going to respond to you. You had suggested that these committees that we are forming, your colleagues should take solace in the fact that you may be on this side. Perish the thought. You are not coming here. This is our bona fide. Haven't you seen the research findings out there? You will be there. Remain there. And engage in constructive criticism. We'll take your criticisms on board. You are good in opposition. This is the governing party. You know, and Mr. Speaker, we know, the country is aware that there is no single social intervention program you introduced successfully. We did. No, I kept quiet for him. Sit down. You won't stand on a point of order. Allow the man to speak. Allow the man to, Mr. Speaker, you see, I said they are not tolerant. He gave it to me small. I let him receive some punches. Mr. Speaker, you know this, my friends. You've given it to us. Now is the time to take it. Then you can't take it. What I'm saying is that the free SHS you couldn't implement. Mr. Speaker, you know, I sat down quietly and I took the punches. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, I will veer off to give them some comfort. Mr. Speaker, so I'm happy that today.
Honorable Majority Leader, your colleague is insistent, so let's hear what he has. Yes, please.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, you know, it's a house of records, and we all respect you as our majority leader. Whatever you say here goes out. But Mr. Speaker, I want him not to mislead us. You say you've brought free SHS, and that as a social, we should mention one. Mr. Speaker, free SHS is predicated on FQ, free compulsory universal basic education, before you go to SHS. So you can't, then, yes, you forgotten. You were young. Mr. Speaker, water for all, rural electrification project. Mr. Speaker, he doesn't know even Guinea well. Do you know Guinea well? Mr. Speaker, he doesn't know Guinea well. Because water for all, electricity for all, free compulsory universal basic education for all. Ours was compulsory. Yours is not even compulsory.
Mr. Speaker, still on a lighter note. Mr. Speaker, still on a lighter note. We represent diversity. Our tradition represents diversity and inclusiveness. Our tradition represents diversity and inclusiveness. It's a reason why at all times we've made sure that our Christian-Muslim combination is held high for the unity of the country. And for the first time, a Muslim in this country is a flag bearer of a political party. For the first time. Mr. Speaker, having said this, our democracy has come of age. Mr. Speaker, our democracy has come of age. And I'm happy you led the reforms in our standing orders. Mr. Speaker, this represents the tolerance of the Ghanaian people. This document, as enacted, is sending a signal to all democracies that in Ghana, we don't believe in a winner takes all. Mr. Speaker, perhaps in the early days, people were worried about this hung parliament. But for me, I know that this parliament has benefited the country more than any other parliament because of its composition. Because no minister can walk away with anything. The level of transparency expected, the level of accountability, especially when it comes to Friday business statement, members take advantage to express views that put ministers on their toes. Above all, we've introduced a novelty which allows a member to ask a member a question of national importance. Mr. Speaker, we give the credit to you, to the parliamentarians in this chamber, and say that, Mr. Speaker, posterity will forever appreciate the industry of this 8th Parliament. Having said this, Mr. Speaker, I shall resume my seat by urging all colleagues to support this report so that the new committees will start their work. And I would want to congratulate who have assumed new positions, especially my respected colleague, Honorable James Few, who now takes up the Energy Committee to bring his experience to bear. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Dafiakwa.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice regarding that the House adopt the report before. Mr. Speaker, if I may draw the House attention to the composition in respect of the Committee of Privileges and Immunities. Mr. Speaker, that will be page Mr. Speaker, if you check our standing orders, the composition is supposed to be you, of course, the Speaker as chairperson, and not more than 14 other members. Mr. Speaker, we have similar provision for the Standing Orders Committee. But, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the composition of the Standing Orders Committee, provisions have been made for other leaders of the committee. So, just that it should be aligned with the content of the Standing Orders, if regard can be had, Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable members, let me say that it's taking a lot of efforts, of negotiations, of give and take from both sides of the House, and then leadership, and then backbenchers to get us this far. We have, as a result of, made some amendments to the numbers. You recall that in the Constitution 1992, there's a provision saying that every member of Parliament must belong to a standing committee. At that time, Parliament was made up of only 200 members. And now we have 275 member Parliament. The Constitution still stands as it was from 1993, which meant that all the 275 members, at least each member must belong to a standing committee. And so either you increase the numbers of the membership of the standing committees, or you create more standing committees. Now, in doing that, we opted to create more because the membership of the committees were unwieldy. In fact, some committees had over 30 members. And that made management of the committees and deliberations rather very clumsy and sometimes not well organized. And so we have, in the new standing orders, created as many as eight new standing committees. And I think that in future, please still think about creating some additional standing committees. I recommend the Committee on the Future. I remember at the committee level we discussed it, but members did not take it on board. But in parliaments all over the world now, it's a committee that is gaining a lot of prominence, a Committee on the Future. But so far, we have created a committee on privileges and immunities, a committee on petitions. We have created a committee on ethics and standards. And we created a committee on economy and development. We created another committee on ways and means, and then a committee on human rights. We also created a committee on private members' bill and private members' motions. And the last committee, standing committee, is the committee on backbenchers' business. And these are innovations that have caught global attention. And many parliaments are trying to learn from these innovative ways of doing business in the House. On the select committees, you recall we created many more sectoral committees to be able to respond to the current challenges in global democratic governance. And so a lot has been done, and there's a great leap forward in trying to have a detailed, comprehensive rules for the work of Parliament. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate this House and to thank members for their efforts, their cooperation, and their understanding. When finally your leaders had difficulty in getting members' positions, they had to come to me as the chairman of the Committee on Selection for us to look at the numbers. So some of the numbers have been upped, and that is being taken care of by the addition. You know, we directed that because of the outcome of the workshops we held together, and also with civil society, the media, and other stakeholders, there were the need for some editing to be done to the draft standing orders that we approved. And so we referred this new addition to them to edit it. So the final standing orders, you may see some changes in the numbers. And this was to make room for members who were otherwise, as a result of what the orders prescribed, had no spaces in the committees. And so that has also been taken care of. And I want to urge members to not take these draft ones, but we are publishing the final one, and you may see some changes in the numbers. That was to create rooms for all of you. And I think that should be taken in good faith. That is captured in the committee's report that you are about to approve today. So it's with this that I want to put the question. We're taking note of the call for us to make transitional provisions, which should be done. And I think that the referrals before the already existing committees should be completed and reports submitted before the new referrals to the new committees will take effect. So please, those that have been referred to the old committees will continue. We have, yes. Why? This is an interesting development or what?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we just want to seek your guidance and clarification on the issue of referrals to the old committees. Earlier this morning, or this afternoon, there were some referrals done. No action has been taken on them by the committees yet. Is it possible for those referrals to now be directed to the appropriate committees, since they have now been properly constituted, to look at it? Thank you.
My attention was drawn to referrals of some mineral agreements to Joint Committee on Lands and Energy. Lands and Energy Committees, Joint Committees. I have been looking at that referral, and I've had discussions. And because of the critical nature of the subject matter, I proposed, and leadership accepted, that we should rather refer those agreements to the Lands and Natural Resources Committee with the additional directive that 4 members from the leadership of each side of the House should assist in the deliberation of the committee. Honorable members, these are critical agreements that will have to be scrutinized seriously. I will not not participate in the debate, but I'll be very vigilant, because for some time now, I belong to the school of thought that believe that we have not benefited from the natural God has so much blessed this nation. And it's all because of the agreements that we enter into with these private sector investors. Please, this time around, we will not hesitate in rejecting any agreement that we believe is not in the interest of the nation. The new composition of the committees, as you realize, have members whose party is not in power chairing the committees. And so we are doing all this to strengthen the oversight function of Parliament. And this is one of the first test cases for you. Please, don't take this as business as usual. We are not urging you to present the report within any time. What I can only urge you on is to make sure that we complete it before the end of this term. And so during the recess, we expect members to focus on this agreement and invite technical people, professional career businessmen, everybody that matters to assist the committee to submit a very good report. We take a serious view of it, and there are a lot of leaders in this country that have drawn my attention to the terms of the agreement. I have copies myself, and I'm seeking legal advice and professional advice on the agreement. So please, members, take a serious view of this referral. And so I direct that the first referral be amended. The business involving two of the agreements that were referred this morning are now referred to the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources to be supported by 4 members from each side of the House, namely the Chief Whips, the Deputy Majority Leaders, and a Deputy Whip from each side of the political divide. It is so referred. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to join colleagues to commend you for all the reforms that you are making, with specific reference to very critical mining agreements. These are usually drafted by the Attorney General's office, the Minister of Justice, and then we refer it to a committee that might not have the benefit of lawyers being part of the committee. And because they are legal agreements, Mr. Speaker, there are standards, both Constitution, in the mining laws, and etc. So I will suggest that for mining agreements, anytime that we are referring them to the committees, we should also have the legal committee, at least the leadership of the legal committee, joining them to provide some level of legal support in their analysis of the agreements. Whereas the committee members may be looking at substantive issues, the legal committee will also assist that committee to be able to do
proper due diligence, because very often that is where the problem is. We will approve documents, and then when lawyers look at it later, they will see that, you know, the House should have done a better job than has been done. So that's my recommendation, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, former Majority Leader.
Speaker, whilst I appreciate the issues raised by my colleague, there is no bill, there is no agreement that comes to this House that does not have the hand of the Attorney General's Department. Are you by that suggesting that any agreement, any bill that comes here, whether relating to a specific sector, we should have the leadership or the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee join up with it? I disagree. I totally disagree. If members of the committee themselves, the oversight committee, take themselves seriously, they should be able to deal with it. And that's why they are here. That is the remit of any committee that exists in this House. I thought, Mr. Speaker, that apart from referring it to the Lands and Natural Resources, howsoever it's called now, committee, I thought that because it relates to minerals, maybe the leadership of the Mines and Energy Committee would have been added to it. That was my thinking. Mines and Energy. I don't, there's no mines and energy. It's only energy. Okay, mines is going to lands. Oh, okay. Then in that regard, if you should go to lands, I think it's all right. But as I said, I disagree with my colleague. I disagree with you when you say that it should. It's the remit of that committee.
Yes, Honorable Suhine.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I join in disagreement with the Honorable Chase Mensah against Honorable Ayaruga's suggestion. Mr. Speaker, is withdrawn? No. Which one has been withdrawn? No, Honorable Ayaruga's point. Yes, no. He disagrees with Honorable Ayaruga, and I join in his disagreement. That's the point I'm making. And I want to say that, Mr. Speaker, almost every bill that is referred to any committee has a legal basis. There's always a legal aspect of the things that are referred to any committee in this House. Be it a finance committee, be it the economic committee, be it even standing orders committee, there's always an aspect of law, because this House is a house of law making. And so it's about law making. And if his argument is anything to go by, then it will suggest that anytime anything is referred to any committee, then leadership of the subsidiary legislation committee should necessarily join them to help them understand the legal, constitutional and legal things associated with it. Mr. Speaker, and it's also as if to say the Lands and Natural Resources Committee will be without lawyers. There may be members who are lawyers who are part of the Lands and Natural Resources Committee. And so in that instance, those lawyers, when it becomes necessary, will give guidance, legal guidance and constitutional guidance. But I also agree with the former Majority Leader that any committee worth its salt will even seek support beyond even the committees that we have in this House, and get proper guidance from even experts in the field. Mr. Speaker, if that is the case, next time somebody will suggest that, look, it involves mining, and so geoscientists, for example, must be attached to the committee so they can understand what is at stake. So I think that the referral is appropriate, where leadership will guide the committee because of the important nature of this, leases, especially with the lithium.
which is a new resource, and we should use it. And I agree with those who say we should use it as a way of refining and correcting the mistakes that we have made in the past with some of our natural resources. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that your referral is appropriate. And I disagree with the suggestion that lawyers should necessarily be attached to the committee to make it better. Thank you.
So, honourable members, we've to put the question. Those in favour of the adoption of the report Yes, you caught my eye. That's why I was moving slowly. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, as my colleague, the majority chief, did an amendment here, we noticed one colleague on our side did not have a select committee.
What did you say?
A colleague on our side, the final document that came, did not have a select committee. So temporarily.
How did that happen?
Yes, because Mr. Speaker, as you know, there's been back and forth in terms of this. And somebody is actually on two select committees. So for now, Mr. Speaker, on Energy Committee, I want to replace, because we need to meet the requirements of the committee, we need to replace temporarily Honorable Dr. Kobna Donko with Honorable Peitu on the Energy Committee.
Honorable what?
Honorable, we are replacing Honorable Dr. Peitu with Honorable Kobna Donko on the Energy Committee on our side at the moment.
Is that all? So I'll put the question again.
Mr. Speaker, you can put the question now.
Those in favor of the adoption of the report say aye. Honourable members, having heard Honourable members, this is a report from the Committee on Selection. I repeat the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report say aye. Those against say no. There was concentration of some response from here and another response from the generality of the House. And so I will have to repeat. Please, those in favor of the report say aye. Aye. Those against say no. No. This is a localized no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, the report is accordingly adopted. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I think a lot has been done today, and at this stage, we are in your hands for adjournment.
Honorable members, I proceed to adjourn the House, and the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow at 10 in the forenoon. The House is adjourned.